Okay, we are back for another session. Today I thought I'd go over the new Amazon Nova, and that's a new AI model they released yesterday, actually, on April 1st. Talk about being daring. And it is a lot better than I expected, I can tell you that. I've heard some talk about Amazon Q that they released before, and this is for AWS, and some people that talked about it, let's just say they were not too thrilled with how it worked and what it did. But Amazon obviously wants to be in the game, in the AI game, and so they're trying to do something, and this Nova thing is pretty impressive, I have to say. I'm not going to go through everything here, but let's just go through some of the things that they have. And so when you initially get into it by going to nova.amazon.com, you get this screen here, and you can type in your prompt, just like ChatGPT or any other LLM, and they have some examples of what you can do with it. So why don't we just do this? Why don't we open up this little panel here, and we'll start from the first thing, new session. So if I'm going to say something like, can you tell me anything about productive, let's say, computer systems in Redmond, Washington. Let's see if it knows anything about my company. I figured if I say PCS, it's going to confuse it, so give it the full name. And it says here, customized computer solutions. They offer services such as custom-built computers for various operating systems. No, we don't offer computers, including Windows, Linux, Macintosh. Not even touching Macintosh, so I don't know where they got that from. They provide service solutions tailored to meet specific business needs. Okay. Company operates with competitive market that includes other IT service providers, technology firms. Doesn't mean anything, but it's not totally accurate. Redmond's economic environment supports a variety of industries, particularly in technology and aerospace, which likely influences the type of services PCS offers. Okay. In other words, they don't have a clue, basically. They're just coming out of this out of their behinds. Redmond is not only a technological hub, but anyway, so in summary, PCS, it says, is a technology services company, provides customer computer and server solutions within the vibrant and innovative community. So that part is pretty accurate. So, okay, so let's see if it knows anything about me. Who runs the company? Let's see if it knows that. We'll ask it who runs the company. And you can see the responses are pretty quick. I'm showing you this in real time. And so based on that, it says, based on the available information, CEO of productive computing, which is not what I asked, which is likely related to or synonymous with productive computer systems. I don't know why they came up with that being synonymous, is Mark LaRochelle. Okay. I don't know who Mark LaRochelle is, but okay. This conclusion is drawn from a blog post highlighting productive computing as a recipient. Anyway, clearly, they have no clue. Okay? Let's just directly ask him this. See if it knows me by my name. Let's see. This is kind of fun. I get to have a new identity. Essentially, we're going to use his first name Oleg. It's not just first name Oleg, a Russian oligarch. See? Now we're getting in the oligarch territory. And Oleg Moskayev, a former professional boxer. Man, I had no idea I was this talented. And so on and so forth, but there's no corresponding information about Oleg Moskalenski. So it doesn't know, okay? It says it's possible Oleg could be a private individual or involved in fields such as the trend. So it doesn't know about me being tied to PCS. It doesn't know about PCS. Basically, I don't know where it's getting information, but obviously it has no clue. If you go to Perplexity and do the same thing, it'll be much more informative than this thing is. So for basic type use like this, even though currently this little toggle here, it says use live information, and you can turn it on and off. It's basically using web search. It has no clue. And you can tell it, you can give it a little feedback here they're asking for, so we'll do it some other time. So for basic LLM use, by far, without any question, use some other application at this point. Okay. But with that said, I don't want to suggest that this thing is useless, because it's definitely not. It's definitely useful. So let's go to the next thing, which is generate image. See if we can get better results. And so here they show you some prompts, and they show you the kind of images you can generate, which, you know, from the look of it, are pretty impressive. But obviously it's a canned thing, so we need to do our own. So why don't we say this? Let's say beautiful mountains with reflecting lake in front of them, snow peaks, and deer and other animals drinking from the lake. Okay, so let's just do something that they haven't done. So I want you to first pay attention to the speed. So we basically typed in the prompt, and this is how fast it generates images. Okay, so it's not instant, it's not immediate, but it probably took maybe like 20 seconds at most, 15-20 seconds, which I would say very nice, even faster than most of things out there right now. So that's pretty cool. And as you can see, it's close to the prompt. I mean, there's a bunch of animals drinking from the lake. Lake is reflective, next to mountains, you have snow peaks, everything exactly as requested. Okay, you can make an argument about these two elks looking directly at the camera at the exact same angle and stuff. And then over here you see it's almost looked like it's one thing, but it's supposed to be two right there. But bottom line being, it's not perfect, but it's very good. It's very good. Okay, let's do a close-up of an elk facing the camera with huge antlers. Let's see how that works out. Again, we're just waiting for a few seconds here, and we get the image right about now. Here we go. Very nice. Okay, so you can see it's pretty decent quality in terms of resolution, in terms of colors and everything. It's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's not bad at all. Not bad at all. At this point, I don't think you can do anything else. You can't say zoom out on this image. Let's see what it'll do. I don't believe it's going to work. I haven't tried this before, but I don't believe it's going to work. Let's see what it does. Yeah, see, completely, totally different deal. So that doesn't work. You can't really mess with it afterwards. So what can you do with it? You can click on this button here that says edit image. And when you do that, it gives you these multiple options. One of the options is generate variations. So let's do that first. And you can generate anywhere from 1 to 5 variations. So let's do all of them. Okay, and again, this also doesn't take much time. So in just a few seconds, we'll see the actual results. And the generations, it varies. I don't know what it's based on because you can't give it a prompt. The only thing you can do is just basically say, edit the image, and then you tell it to do multiple generations. But you have no access to any kind of prompting or anything like that in terms of what these generations will be. So I don't know where it gets it from, but it gets it from somewhere. I did try to attach an image of my son and told it to do different generations, and it completely just definitely screwed up. You can kind of tell it's coming from the same image, but at the same time the end results look nothing like him. So as you can see here, there's different variations there, and some are better, some are worse. And then you can go from there. You can also edit that, and you can say give me more generations and go from there. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is you can go into, let's say we wanted to edit let's say this image here, and over here you can select remove background option. And I just specifically picked that one because it had fairly varied background. And so if we click on remove background, we're gonna see, not bad at all. It does an excellent job of removing backgrounds. So it had all this stuff in there behind there, and now I have clean antlers, clean body. Yeah, it looks very, very nice. So that's one thing you can do, which is super useful. Let's pick the same image, go to edit again. You can also replace the background. So let's do that. So we take replace. It says, what do you want to keep in the new image? So what we want to keep the elk. And then what do you want new background to be? Let's say ocean with waves crashing. Okay. And then what should not be included in the new image? I don't really understand what they mean, because it asks me what to keep, it asks me what I want to replace it with, and I guess what do I not want? The forest, I guess. I don't want the forest in the... And so we do replace background. Let's see what it'll do. While I was thinking here, I wanted to show that you can also attach images to start with, and then do, for example, remove the background on your image, things like that. So that's very, very useful, clearly, to be able to do that kind of stuff. And as you can see here, perhaps I don't know how to prompt it properly, but it definitely didn't do what I wanted it to do. It came up with some weird looking deal here, which is totally useless. So I don't know about that particular. I'll have to play with it some more. But if we go and select another one and look at the other option, it says replace or remove an object. Let's try this. How about, what do you want to remove or replace? Antlers. And what do you want to replace with? Horns. What should not be included in your image? Option. Okay, so let's just do that and see what happens. So that's another option they're giving you. Let's see how well this will work this time. It changed, as you can see, this is the original here we work with. So it did change the antlers to be horns, kind of a weird looking deal with horns, and but it also changed the actual head to kind of semi look like a goat almost. I mean, it kind of looks like the same, but not really. So not great. I mean, I realized that I just tried this one example. Maybe it does a better job with something else, but not sensational in terms of what you can do with this edit image thing. The remove background works great, awesome. So that part definitely is useful. Let's try to see the last option here. Let's go pick this guy here. And then the last option is shape image. And so it says, how do you want to transform your image? Show the elk on top of the mountain next to a beautiful waterfall. Let's try that and see what happens. And so while I was doing this, I just wanted to point out that if you hover over this attachment thing, it allows you to put in attachments up to 1280 by 720 and up to 25 megabytes in size. So it's pretty healthy in terms of being able to upload big images. So over here you can see the original image looked like this. We have nothing but forest. Now clearly it's the same guy. You know, everything is identical, but now we do have him standing. You can't tell he's standing on the mountain, but you can see the waterfall next to him. So the implication is he's on a mountain. So not bad. I mean, not exceptional, not the best thing we've seen from image generators, but it's super fast. Number one, it's definitely very fast, as you can see, and it produces pretty decent results. You just have to play with it. So those are the editing capabilities. But another thing you can do is you can also click on this convert to video on any of these images. And what that'll do, it'll generate the video. Again, you have no control over the video itself. It says converting to video with Amazon Nova Reel. This may take 2 to 3 minutes. I'll let you know when the video is ready. And it's true to what they claim. I mean, it does get done in about 2 minutes. sometimes faster than that. So we'll see how long it takes this time. But I think it'll be like 1 to 2 minutes, and then we'll see a video to go with this particular still. It does do a nice job from the videos that I play with, smoothness and things like that. It does a very nice job. But the lack of control at this point, keep in mind, this is the first release of this. So this is as bad as it's ever going to get. I mean, it's only going to get better going forward. But it definitely lacks in some areas. I mean, it's not a fully polished, finished product. And my guess is they didn't mean for it to be. They just wanted to get it out as a starting point so people can start playing with it and figure out what the problems are, bugs are, and things like that. So as you can see, the message up here just disappeared, which means it's wrapping up, probably just saving it. And then we'll look at it in a second. And what it does when you actually click on create video, down the bottom you have this good bad response. They ask you to tell it what's happened, and then you have ability to copy the image, and then you have this little navigation between 1 and 2, which is basically the still version and the video version. So you can jump into the video version. If you jump immediately into it, it'll show you a blank image. It's not gonna show you anything else. But once it's done, then obviously it's gonna show the actual video. So let's wait for us to wrap up here. Right now you're looking at everything real time. I'm not doing any kind of editing or anything else, so you can actually see how long it takes to do these things. Okay, Noah, come on. I'm ready for the video here. So you can see that videos definitely take longer. And the videos themselves take about 6 seconds to run. So they're not super long, they're not super short either, but 6 seconds. And all the videos I've seen that it generated, from what I've seen, do a very nice job. It's just, like I said, the biggest problem with the videos they generate is you have no control. So the way the video will actually move is totally up to the program itself, figuring out what it should do and how it should move and things like that. You have zero control over that. All right, here we go. Here's your converted. So it starts with the original image there, and then you click play, and in this particular case it does the pan going up. Okay, and as you can see, it's a really weird deal. It's got this generation. I don't know where it came up with this. Top part clearly is not good for this, but looks like they need to work on their outpainting capabilities. I was thinking it would do the waterfall in terms of animation, but it just basically did this pan from top to bottom. So in this particular case, it's useless. But in some cases, you know, if you go and let's say you upload an image. So let's say we upload an image. By the way, these here, like this PCS and the animation for PCS I did, and this Nova thing, this was all generated using Nova. So it's pretty cool. So anyway, if we look at the pictures here, and let's say I grab an image with my kids, for example, and it'll stick it in there, and then it says, what do you want to do with it? So I'm just gonna see, one of the things it does when you upload an image, it forces you into this edit mode. And in my case, I don't really want to do anything. Now, if I cancel, it says, you sure you want to exit image editor? So I say exit, and when I exit, my image is not there. So notice it didn't upload it. So I have to do the editing portion. I don't know why they did it this way, but they did. So let's grab it again. And because it insists, let's just get rid of the background. And remove the background. And so it's going to give me the image back. And notice it got rid of my kids. That's cute. But anyway, let's say convert it to video. Just see what it does. It says input doesn't match expected format, contains invalid results. Please double click. So for some reason they expect it in a certain format. I don't know what format because they don't tell you. And so generating its own images, maybe if I uploaded the image in this format here that, yeah, it says attach 1280 by 720. So my guess is you probably need to attach in that format, and that's what it generates to make it do videos. So we'll skip this part. Let's just skip this part for now. I don't know why it's spinning here, because it says it's not supposed to do it, but it's still spinning like it's doing something. So we'll see as we work through it if it might actually generate the video after all, even though it says the format is invalid. Or maybe it'll just kind of keep sitting here and just playing around. Anyway, we're not gonna get stuck on this. Let's just move on to next thing, which is explore video gallery. Now here you can see some very impressive videos. I mean, very, very impressive videos. Like this bear, for example. They all seem to be a little oversaturated in color, in my opinion. In other words, they're nice looking, but they're a little bit oversaturated in terms of colors. Like this dog, for example, looks fine, but this burger looks a little too much. And also a little bit more on the darker side. But some of these other, just like these deer here. But it's still very nice looking. Many of these things look very nice, and you know, pretty decent quality, and animation is smooth. You know, everything looks good. So the question becomes then is, okay, how do I create these things? And the answer is you can't. Okay, this is strictly, as they say, explore video gallery. It's just a video gallery. So I actually asked it to tell me why is there a video gallery when you can't create any of this stuff. And I think from what it responded to, basically my understanding is that they're basically telling you go to some other programs and generate the thing. But what I did was I took some of these videos here, like for example the deer video. Okay, so the deer video looks like this, but they give you the prompt. So I figured I'm going to drop it into Sora and see if Sora would generate something that looks like this from the prompt. So now you can see what their video looks like. And then the other one I believe I did was, yeah, this light bulb. So this is another one that has this prompt and does this. Nice looking light bulb. So this was done supposedly in their model. Okay. So if we jump to Sora now, I can show you what Sora did using the exact same prompt they did. So the deer came out looking like this in Sora. So it doesn't have as many deer, not that close. Looks similar, but definitely different. And you can see Sora did a phenomenal job, in my opinion. So this is the Sora's version of the same prompt. And then the other video was the light bulb spinning. And that looks like this in the Sora's version. So the light bulb looks different. Obviously, it's not a light bulb, but you have some of the elements that are similar. They deal with the marble table, the reflections, glass, these orange lights and stuff. So that looks very similar in many ways. The gears are bigger than on the other one. So that's the video from same version of this thing on Sora. So close, definitely not bad at all. And both of them did a nice job. So hopefully we'll get access to generate these soon, but for now that's it. Then you have this side-by-side comparison, which I don't really know, to be honest, what it's for. Oh, okay. You can compare different models, I guess, here and ask. They have these different Nova Pro, Nova Lite, Nova Micro. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what you would do with that, but let's just skip that. And then they have this thing called Act. And Act is something I'm going to do a different video on, because that's basically has to do more with programming. And they're going to have an SDK and everything, but I wanted to try it, but you have to sign up, I would send them a request. By the way, when you log into this thing, this Nova Act, means Nova Amazon app, they ask you to log in using Amazon. You can use Google too, but Amazon's account that you have, and that way everything kind of ties in together. And from what I've heard from somebody else, that it does a really good job doing searches and everything on Amazon itself using this approach. So when I said it doesn't really work very well, people said that for Amazon search and stuff, it does a great job. And so I signed up for it, but they said to wait for an hour to get the API key, and that hasn't come in yet, so we'll just do it next time. So let's go back to the very beginning. And one of the final thing I wanted to show you, speaking of programming, is they give you these different examples of what it can do. And you can play with them and do exactly what they say. One of the things that kind of came to my mind that I thought was kind of nifty, they had this prompt in there, for creating SQL. Basically, it said develop SQL database schema for a restaurant booking system. So for those of you who don't know how to program, basically, if you wanted to run a system to be able to manage your restaurant bookings, then you would do it using a database and some code. And to create the database, you need to use this language called SQL. And so before you use it, you need to know the structure of the actual data in the database and things like that. I'm not going to go over those details because any of you who don't know how to program or how to spell SQL would be completely lost. So the bottom line being that I put their prompt in there so it could create this schema or this information about this particular system for me. And so it created all these different things here. Okay. And then I said, write a simple app utilizing this schema. So then it goes ahead and says it's going to do a Python application, told me what to do. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do that, so on and so forth. I didn't want to do it in Python because I wanted to try it on my hosting company, and they're not running Python on my account. So I thought, let's just do it in PHP, which is something I do most of my stuff in and have done before. When it gave me the Python stuff, I told it, can you rewrite it in LAMP? Okay, so it went ahead and it says, certainly, below a simplified version using LAMP stack. And so, again, without explanation, it basically did the same thing it did up there, but now it did it using this environment. And it says the first thing you need to do is set up my SQL database, and it gives you the instructions, and you can click here to copy the code. So if we actually copy the code, then it would allow us to go ahead and create the schema. So I'm going to copy the code, and I'm going to bring, just to show you an example of how it actually works, I'm going to bring my deal here, and this is just app you usually use to maintain databases in MySQL. I go in here and say I want to do a SQL query. I'm going to paste the code in there. The only thing I'm going to get rid of is the first 2 lines because it's assuming a different name than what I'm actually using in my host. And what will happen if I run it like this, just to show you, I'm going to click on go, and it's going to bomb. It says, you know, it can't create this, access denied, basically go away. So because of that, we just get rid of this thing because it'll automatically use the proper database anyway. And if I run it now, by clicking on go, now I don't have any red boxes, everything is green. And if I click here, you can see I got customers, the reservation tables, and they don't have any information in them, but the actual structure has been created with no rows in there, meaning no data. Okay, that's what it says here, return empty result set. Okay, so we're good. Next thing that you want to do, according to this, is to, so we did step 1, fine. Create PHP script. And now you have this PHP script, so the only thing that needs to be changed in PHP script is this information here. Because it's got, you know, you have your separate username, password, it all depends on your host. So that would have to be changed for those that know what I'm talking about here. But other than that, you just leave the rest of the code the same. And basically the code has these functions that do various things like view reservations and add reservation and add table. So it's got all this stuff in there built in to be able to have an app built, which this is not that app, that will have a user interface of some sort and allow people to add customers, allow people to add tables, allow people to add reservations, things like that. And so they show an example operation here where we use one of these functions to add a customer called John Doe, and then add a table with this information, and then the reservations for that particular table, and then it'll show the reservations, basically, whatever is there right now. So if we actually use this code to drop it into VS Code, which is what I use for editing code, and so I put exactly the same code in there, and then I transferred it over to my hosting company. Then, if I go to the URL, let's go to the URL and run this particular app, is going to go ahead and run. And over here you can see it says customer added successfully, table added successfully, reservation added successfully, because it was calling these functions to do these jobs. It says viewing all reservations, and it shows, there's reservation ID 1 for customer John Doe, table 1. Date is, set up to April 10th at 7 p.m. And there are 2 guests and no special requests. So the bottom line is, you can see right from the box, as you will, it works. I didn't have to do anything else other than change the parameters a little bit, the sign-ons to the database, and also make sure that it properly runs and creates the database itself, just removing a couple of lines there. But everything else I didn't touch at all, and it just worked exactly how it was supposed to work. And even though it's not a complete app, it's at the same time the app that you can do much more with by just taking it to the next step, creating a user interface, adding an option for people to be able to add tables, customers, so on, be able to view reservations like it shows here on the screen. It may be a nicer view and everything else, but the basic structure, infrastructure in terms of data and its management and being able to put things in and things like that is all in place, which is awesome. I think it's great. I haven't done more than that in terms of coding, but definitely it looks like a potent way to do some coding and to work. A lot of times when you go to other apps, if you go to like Claude or if you go to ChatGPT to generate code, it'll generate it, you run it, it bombs, and then you give it the error and says this is bombed because of this. So, I'm sorry, here's the new code, this should work. You run it again, another problem, you give it to the LLM again, then fixes it, eventually basically runs. So you go through these iterations. This thing impressed me because I ran it actually once and it worked right from the get-go exactly how it's supposed to work. So I think that's exceptional, and kudos to Amazon for putting something out like this even in the first version. And so this act thing, like I said, we'll talk about that in another video. So basically that's the overview of Amazon Nova, and you can see what it can do. And feel free to go through some of these examples of what they suggest you could potentially do to play with it, so you can see the full breadth of what it can actually do. And it can do a lot. I mean, it's pretty potent. With that said, I hope you find this useful, and until next time, I'm Oleg. Thank you.